Our first game today between Kelvin Grove and St. Paul's School saw Kelvin Grove win the game and go up 1-0 in the series overall. What did you think about that first game?
I thought, honestly, I want to see more from both of these teams moving forward. I think each of them had a lot of strengths, but there was a lot of weaknesses as well. Good thing about a best of 3, we can fix those weaknesses. We can go back,
Yeah, exactly.
pick up on what we messed up on, and improve moving forward. For KG4, I want to see them essentially close out the game a lot faster. I don't believe that was a 3 Baron game. I think at most that was a 2 Baron game. So I'd like to see them really focus up, try harder, get those objectives, snowball the game, and win once they have the advantage. For SPS, play to your comp strengths. They had the early game team composition, and they only had a small lead off the early game. And then when it was time to put that in use, their team fight just seemed scattered and all over the place. So I want to see them focus up, fall back on the shot calling, pick your targets, execute your targets, get your objectives. I don't know, little things like that from each side.
Yeah, I definitely think KG4, they had a really strong, they came back and their team fighting is, their biggest strength. That's what they're best at. They team fight really well. With the SPS, their team fighting is where they really, have something to be desired, right? They're very strong in their early game. I really like their draft. That's very atypical for them, right? They usually draft a late game scaling comp. They want to use their macro. I like the volley bear pick as well. That was a nice, addition that kind of, add something different. I really like them being out of their comfort zone game 1. But I think, they need to do the same thing, but they need to calm down a little bit. While the Kelvin Grove on the other side need to be more aggressive as we are now into Champion Select.
Yeah, we have now moved on to Champion Select. I mean, during this break, there was one very important question, though, that I asked to you, and I want to get other people's opinion on it. Because we saw Draven in game 1, right?
Yeah.
If I were to shave this middle part on my beard, do you think I could really get that full Draven Fu Manchu going?
I think you could get the full Fu Manchu going with the Draven. I think you need to be a Draven player, an 80 carry player at least, to kind of try that hairstyle. But definitely a new thing. As we see, the bands are very similar, so not too much adaptation so far in the draft. We see, the Nasus Riven Vladimir taken off by Kelvin Grove, and I assume the next brand will be they banned off the first getting their band.
Xayah.
That was Xayah, so that's new. They're getting that off the table, I think. Yep. I mean, also, they have swapped sides as well, right? So St. Paul's is now on the... Oh, no, wait. No, they haven't swapped sides.
Yes, they have.
No, they haven't. Kelvin Grove's AS7 on the top side, so...
Oh.
Maybe they haven't changed the names around. Maybe that's what is going on.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused on where we're at right now, but judging by that Olaf and that Xerath ban, I think it is safe to say...
St. Paul's are on the red side.
Yeah, I want to assume that St. Paul's is on the red side. There we have it. Yep, so it is KG4 on the blue side. St. Paul's on the red side.
Yeah, so
Ekko
they chose to remain on their side, so usually you get side selection on that. So St. Paul's chose to stay on red side. Apologies there for that little miscommunication. Looks like they get the Darius up in the top side, an early top lane matchup for Aurôra, and the Ekko, which could be flexed between 3 roles really for Kelvin Grove.
And we're seeing Stvn as well return to that Jarvan now. If he's going to play a similar style to how he played game 1, I want to see him off that Electrocute. I want to see him off that Warrior. I want to see him take Conqueror, and I want to see him on the Aftershock. I think he played a fantastic tank Jarvan game, but that's not what his team needed. If that's what they want to play moving forward, though, easy enough to fix. Jarvan is one of those characters that has that flexibility. You can play him in multiple of different ways. So it's definitely easy to adapt the build to your own playstyle with him.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this time he is going to be looking to be more of that tank. On the other side, however, a completely different team comp for the most part out of KG. We're seeing the Ekko and the Braum, but some things do remain the same. AS7 and Mordekaiser.
Yeah, it looks like Mordekaiser locked in. I think they should have saved that pick. There's still that flexibility available there. Oh, that's a very interesting pick up by LPJ. Ekko is like a very hard counter to Syndra, especially later, during the mid part of the game and late laning phase, right? Ekko's got that gap close on his E, the chrono jump, I think is what it's called. Something like that, right? Jumps on the top of the Syndra, able to get those passives stacked up straight away and does so much damage. And Syndra being one of those super immobile mages in the mid lane means she can't really play properly. I think LPJ should have gone for something like, the Zoe who's decent to Ekko, or a more defensive carry. I think this Syndra could be definitely, exposed. And overall, I'm not really a fan of this Aurôra, or the Darius either up on the top side for Aurôra. I mean, it is a good matchup into the Mordekaiser, but...
I get that, but, okay, so it wasn't Aurôra, right? But I do remember a certain quarterfinal matchup where you also were, I'm not so sure about this Darius, but Kallenfeld's Fifi fan just came up huge, 1v5ing, winning games, securing semifinal spots. Maybe Aurôra wants to mimic that.
In fairness, that was against a Bronze 1 that had like 3 CSPM. That was a very unique, different situation. this is a favorable matchup for Darius this time. I just think Darius is one of those champions who, lacks really tools to get into a teamfight late game and can kite it out really easily. I think, obviously having this J4, I don't know, Stvn C last game didn't really show me that he, knows how to pilot the J4 properly. And I think, he needs to really get out in the early game, use that electrocute to kind of force some more decision-making out of Kelvin Grove laners and put some more pressure on him.
Now, this is interesting coming out of St. Paul's as well. JacksProject was one of the stronger players on the team, I feel, in Game 1 on the Draven. This time, he's getting the Vayne, but Vayne is one of his major comfort picks. He does like those early game duelers and abusers. Vayne is one of the best at it because it also doubles as a tank buster. And when I'm seeing a Braum, I'm seeing a Mordekaiser, I'm seeing an Amumu. Those are 3 targets that Vayne actually can do all right against.
Yeah, I mean, I also like the bans as well, banning this Draven and the Caitlyn out, getting them off this early game style that St. Paul's played so effectively last game. And the Stvn and Kaiser are good removals as well. I'm not sure about the Braum here out of Sponkle. I think the Braum is definitely not as strong as it used to be. I think, especially given the fact he went for Xayah as well. I know Sponkle's a very good Rakan, and Rakan Xayah is a very, very strong lane. I think it would have been better to get that support pick and then, maybe pick up a different AD carry if you wanted to pair with the Braum in the end. I think that's a little bit interesting. I think this bot lane is, again, not as punishable, right? The Lulu now locked in for Plëb as well. So this Vayne Lulu, it's very much a late game scaling kind of pick, and I don't think this Braum Xayah is positioned to take advantage of this double range matchup in the bot lane as effectively as you may like. I mean, I think, like, majorly for this draft, I think Kelvin Grove, I like what they've done with their draft. We said, before the game, they need to draft, a little bit more aggressive in the early game. They need to play a little bit more aggressive and stop being so conserved and so practiced and patient in their play style, right? So, that's good to see out of them that they're trying to push that a little bit more. And hopefully when we actually get into the game, they need to be a little bit more ruthless, right? They need to get this kill, get the kill as soon as they can. They kind of mucked around a little bit too much in that mid game. They could have ended the game in like 26, 28 minutes, ended up going to 38 minutes. So they really need to make sure they're playing a lot more aggressively, especially now it's game 2. It should be, you can put it down to like first game nerves, right? A bit nervous on stage, but now that they've played a game, they should really be looking to kill this game off as soon as possible. On the other side for St. Paul's, I think they've gone way too much the other way, right? We said they need to draft, early game. They need to keep the same draft because that's what worked for them, being the underdogs in this series, and obviously down 0-1 as well. You can see them defaulting a little bit more to comfort, which is something good. You should always play comfort over meta, right? If you're struggling a little bit. I think drafting such a heavy team fight comp as well is a little bit of an issue. Obviously, the Darius with Ghost up on the top side means they've got a little bit more flexibility in a win condition if they can win that side lane super hard. I think the Darius is going to be very strong if he doesn't get picked off early on and doesn't fall behind. If he can get ahead, he can actually be a very good split pusher, and that can utilize a win condition for SPS that doesn't involve team fighting, because I think their team fighting is very, very weak, and their communication around that is leaving a lot to be desired, right?
Yep.
I think they need to play a little bit more controlled as well and not go for that Baron as early on. That was the biggest thing last game, because if they didn't go for that Baron, the whole game would have been differently, and I think they, maybe wouldn't even taken that game out as well. See, the players are now onto Summoner's Rift, and we'll see how this game plays out.
Well, at the moment, it's a bit of a repeat performance coming from Kelvin Grove. They once again are looking to group as 5, sort of camping out that bot side, 5 men in the bush, but they're not looking to punish any sort of invade, because St. Paul's, they've opted for the line of scrimmage, guarding their entrances. It's a near perfect start. I would like to see LJP and Stvn sort of switch spots, because that can kind of sometimes hide where the jungler is actually going to be going. But little things, minor nitpicks.
Yeah.
One thing I'm actually very surprised coming out of Kelvin Grove is boosted garbage and that jungle pick. He has gone for the Sedge and he has gone for the Amumu. Coming into this, from the scouting I've done, he's usually liked aggressive sort of dueling junglers, your Vys, your Olafs and that. But he's adopted more for the team. He's playing these tanks. He's playing these engagers. And this time around with raDiEnt on this Ekko, I feel as if all he has to do is land that bandage toss in mid lane post level 3. And LJP is going to be in a lot of trouble. I expect a lot of pressure being put on the mid lane this game. And raDiEnt, he had a strong performance on Xerath, who is not your big hyper carry performer. On an Ekko, he could actually take a game completely over. So if raDiEnt plays as well as he did in game 1, I am very scared for St. Paul's chances.
I mean, especially since he's taken Ignite here as well. You know, Ekko generally the TP is a much safer choice. I know one of my close friends is a very good Ekko one trick, and he's told me, you know, I spoke to him a little bit about how you play Ekko, and he reckons if you're taking, you know, Ignite, you need to get a kill level 2, level 3, or else the summon is pretty much useless. You get so much more benefit out of TP due to the side lane pressure you generate on the champion, and being able to keep tempo up in your lane as a melee champion into a range matchup, right? You get abused way too hard, especially against the Syndra, who wins this matchup pre-6. Once it hits 6 though, Ekko has his you know, pseudo Zonyas, right, which stops you the damage coming through from the Syndra ulti, and also the ability to gap close and jump on top of their mobile Syndra. Yeah. So, I mean, this matchup is very volatile in the mid lane, but, you know, Ekko is the winning matchup if you play it right. And, you know, with this Ignite, it means raDiEnt's going, hey, I saw you play in game 1, I know I'm a better mid laner, I'm going to take it to you, I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to prove it to you as well.
Yeah, but it all comes to how much pressure he can be getting from boosted garbage on this Amumu. At the moment, each jungler has been kind of mirroring each other on opposite sides of the map, but already we're seeing pings come down, so boosted garbage might be making that first step towards the top lane. In the end, decides against it, will back off for now. They sussed out the ward that was placed by Aurôra. Again, mid lane is where I want to see the focus, but instead it could be coming from Stvn, who's looking to possibly kind of wait out the Scuttle Crab. These junglers are going to run into each other very soon.
Yeah, I mean, I want Jarvan to play a lot more aggressive, and I want him to farm his Krugs as well. His Krugs have been up for a while. I think both these junglers need to, you know, the Krugs are the most valuable camp in the game, and if you're trying to do this kind of ganking, more ganking aggressive style, you need to look like the Plëb's playing.
Well, junglers have found each other, and the bandage toss did connect. Stvn C in a little bit of trouble, trying to run away. raDiEnt's coming down, but he does have help from Aurôra. Aurôra did shove the lane, and they're turning around. Boosted garbage, force the flash, the follow-up flash is there. Stvn C has red buff, he has the damage. One more auto will secure first blood.
Yeah, again, St. Paul, getting first blood once again, getting caught out in that river was the Amumu. The top lane had priority. Darius moved down first, and Ekko, unfortunately, didn't have enough mana to kind of help him out there. You know, I mean, I think there was a little bit of greed there from Boosted Garbage, right? He kind of walked in, and the Jarvan knew that he had to kite to his top side. I think there should have been a communication from the Mordekaiser there going, hey, I'm unable to come. I think that's good from St. Paul's to say, look, we have communication. That's an improvement from the first game where it didn't really look like they were talking to each other too much. So that's a good early sign for St. Paul's and another early lead for them.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of catastrophic for raDiEnt in this mid lane, because a lot of what I believe he wanted to do this game relied on boosted garbage, hitting that bandage toss, getting those early kills, taking advantage of the Ignite Electrocute Ekko. But with boosted garbage going down, that's actually going to put raDiEnt behind, as Aurôra, once again, looking for an early solo kill on AS7. Mordekaiser should be able to walk away. This is St. Paul. They're coming out rejuvenized. Like, they want to take it to Kelvin Grove right now.
I mean, we saw this in the first game, right? They were the team that had very aggressive early on. I think they've kind of adapted that. Instead of having two aggressive lanes in both the top and bot lane, they've kind of gone for the more safer scaling bot with the better players, which I think is a good strategy, and then gone for that aggressive top side. So the J4 actually has one side to focus towards, rather than having to balance his focus between two sides of the same coin. I think as well, you can see some of the issues with the Ekko right now. He's got a very bad back, which means the Syndra should be able to get a pseudo lead back on him, just because of having no TP, but for some reason she's back because she has no mana. I think mana management for these mid laners is very important. Like you see, like both these mid laners are a little bit far behind. They have no pressure early on, right? Another early Infernal Dragon as well, which I think Kelvin Grove should be the favorites to get here. They have got the stronger bot side, which is, you know, one of the weaknesses when you're drafting the scaling bot with the Vayne. Sorry. But I do think, you know, this top side for St. Paul's is, you know, a big winning streak. Last game, we didn't think it would be like that on paper, right? You know, Aurôra is the weaker player on paper, but obviously hasn't been turning up as much. And Mordekaiser is one of those champions who, if you don't have a good matchup in lane, you're going to be struggling quite a lot.
Yeah, I want to throw more praises Aurora's way. He's already off to another great start this game around. Has the CS lead, has been able to abuse AS7 enough that AS7 has backed and had to teleport back into lane. And this is the second game in a row where Aurôra has kind of played a bit of an off-meta champion into this Mordekaiser and has looked very, very strong at the start. So Aurôra definitely showing up today, trying to help bring St. Paul's into that final match. They are down one game, and just a reminder for everyone at home, we are watching a best of 3 at the moment. Kelvin Grove is up 1-0. The winner of this match will be playing later this afternoon in our state final, so a lot on the line. For St. Paul, it is do or die. They need to win this game. Kelvin Grove, a win gets them to that final match. So a lot on the line for each of these teams.
Yeah, so Kelvin Grove, if they take this out, they will be going straight through to the final. We see a gang coming on the top side.
Flash prematurely used there by Aurôra. Better safe than sorry. Boosted garbage. Happy to just only really show up, not have to do much, and get the flash for his top laner. So a nice win for Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, very nice that, getting the flash out of Darius, no TP as well, so, forcing this Darius to back that flash is a very useful key to kind of get out of bad trades. That is one of the weaknesses of playing Darius, right, without the teleport. See 3-man up into the top side.
Yeah, raDiEnt is actually going to try and get that kill on the top side. Aurôra pulled back into the team. He's not getting away. Kill secured for Kelvin Grove.
And that's a great gank. That's at least some utilization of an Ekko, right? You get the priority in the mid lane, you're able to shove him much faster with that Q that Ekko has. Very good roaming as well. One of those mid laners who is quite strong at that. And using that mid lane priority is like pushing a side lane. Obviously, he was playing Xayah last game, so wasn't able to really show that roaming prowess. But now he's had his Ekko. He's played that very, very well, and being able to push those side lanes is quite effective.
Yeah, but what St. Paul's doing right now is really smart. They are aware they're losing topside pressure at the moment, so they're going to take advantage of what they have on the bot side, and that is an Infernal Drake secured for St. Paul.
Yeah, especially with the losing bot lane push as well. That's really nice to see them pick that up there. Kelvin Grove, of course, getting that AS7, back into this game. Not back into this game, but giving him a lead in this game in the losing matchup. I think AS7 has obviously been their key player all season, and he's been maybe not as prevalent as you'd like in the early games. Obviously last game and this game as well, and getting that kill from him is really big. Is still down on teleport though, but we'll be able to get back off that, and so that teleport loss will be mitigated just a little bit. But I think this mid lane is actually very important. This is something we didn't think today would be about, but I think if this Ekko can keep pushing this lead and then maybe even get a solo kill on the Syndra, I think that's going to be the biggest difference here. This Ekko could just completely snowball the game out of control, and is one of those champions, the assassins. Once they get those items, they get that huge damage coming through, and I think it's really on him and Boosted Garbage to move around this map and win the game early on for Kelvin Grove.
Can we just because this is a bit of an elephant in the room right now, but I think it's something we need to address. Boosted Garbage. Just that name. Oh, sorry, we'll get back to that as raDiEnt actually gets stunned in place. Aurôra was looking to roam down from top. Not going to find it. Okay, back to Boosted Garbage.
Yes.
That name. What are your thoughts on that one? Because it is definitely controversial.
Controversial how so, man?
Just the implications of it.
I don't know what those words implicate.
Oh,
I don't know.
You don't want to embellish on this?
Unfortunately,
raDiEnt. That was a nice play right there, able to get that harass down onto LJP. Let's put it this way. If Kelvin Grove wants to win, Boosted Garbage has to rise above his namesake.
Yes,
I think that's the best way of putting that one there.
I mean, look, in the first game, there were some moments where I thought maybe the name's a little bit more appropriate. But, it can go both ways sometimes, right? You're never always going to be that way. And we can change it quite a little bit. See, down on the bot side, though, this Vayne is actually ahead in CS, which is something you usually don't see, right? The Vayne should be behind, and I think this is JacksProject just showing his complete control.
Oh, raDiEnt going for the tower dive, has a lot of damage. The Ignite is used. Scatter the Weak did not connect, but LJP is sidestepping, trying to stay alive. Won't get out. raDiEnt with the kill. Top lane, we are not done. Boosted Garbage looking for that banish toss. The flash and the toss do connect. Aurôra in a lot of trouble, gets health back, but he's too low, and he will go down as well. 2 kills for Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, really nice there from Kelvin Grove. Topside pressure from the jungler, able to get that kill on top lane. You see the Ekko into the Syndra, why it's so strong, right? You get that stun on the tower, you use it to, use the gap closer to get in, and then your ultimate to jump back out as well. The Syndra couldn't cut backwards because the Ekko was right there to get her. Couldn't go back towards the Ekko ultimate as well, so had no real option out, and again falls down. Again, LPJ is behind in CS, and raDiEnt showing why he's the stronger mid laner out of these two.
Yeah, this is definitely looking very strong for Kelvin Grove. Fans of this blue side have to be starting to get more and more confident as raDiEnt gets further and further ahead in this game. That solo kill in the mid lane is huge for the blue side, and if raDiEnt is able to keep this going, we could be looking at a much faster, cleaner game.
Yeah, I mean, especially it's looking that way as well, right? There's also up on the top side AS7 now. 2 kills on this Mordekaiser in a losing matchup is really good for them. I think, Aurôra was one of the key strengths of why they were able to play the game so well, and his TP flanks down to this bot side were what kind of spread the lead around for St. Paul. So not having that, a teleport available on this top lane means he can't just get out of his lane and start putting his bot lane ahead, which are, a little bit stronger at the moment. I fear that if this Mordekaiser gets too out of control, he's going to be able to ult out JacksProject, and this Vayne will not be doing very much in these team fights, which is really what their comps build around, right? Their main damage is this Vayne in the back line. He's the one that's supposed to do all the damage, and without that, not much you can do there, right?
They're on a ward, and now Boosted Garbage is coming to show up to the ward as well. Finally, they're revealed as the minions kind of step down. They committed a lot of time for a lot of nothing right there.
I mean, the bot lane didn't really have much else to do, right? Just jump into fog no matter where they were standing. So that's one of the biggest losses for them. Boosted Garbage are wasting a little bit of time, but he's farming his correct side of the jungle. Pops the scrying roll as well, and the blue buff is about to come out. So just both junglers just kind of playing a nice peaceful game at the moment. Right?
Yeah, I'm actually very curious at the fact that both bot lanes have not had a chance to recall and buy items. And we're approaching a Mountain Drake. This is another huge dragon. I think if either side can find the time to actually recall, reset, get some items, that'll be a huge advantage for this upcoming dragon. Meanwhile, though, Aurôra is in a bit of trouble. AS7 looking for that all-in, but doesn't want to risk it. Aurora's actually going underneath the tower. That's a mistake.
Oh.
Kill secured for Kelvin Grove.
That was a great little tech there by AS7, able to ult and cancel the Darius ultimate there. So was able to ult, you can get a Q reset as well, which is an animation cancel when you pull him into the death room, stole the stats away from the Darius as well, and was able to get that kill.
Scatter of the week does connect. Flag and drag doesn't, but it might not matter. Cataclysm comes down. raDiEnt trying to get out, but he stays stuck in the Cataclysm. The damage is huge. Steven's in a lot of trouble. raDiEnt gets one. He wants the 2v1. LJP trying to run away, does not have flash, but the scatter of the week does connect, and the return kill is there.
That was really nice from raDiEnt. That's why Ekko is so strong, because you have the ultimate to avoid so much damage. He did get the kill on the jungle, but was a little bit over eager and tried to get another kill on LPJ. Didn't know his damage numbers quite fully there, and unfortunately goes down to that little Q there. So, I mean, it was also nice from LPJ doing the stun behind. So on Syndra, generally you know, scatter the weak and throw your balls into them, which creates a stun. But if you actually have a ball behind them and they're in the scatter the weak range, the pushback will actually stun them if they're in line with the ball. So that's one of those more interesting mechanics, and you know, showing that off there from LPJ is quite strong. But you know, the Ekko there, you know, you can see why he's such a strong pick into this Syndra, and I think that's just huge for them across the board from Kelvin Grove. They're just so far ahead in this mid and top side, and it's going to be very difficult for St. Paul's to get back in this game.
Yeah, already sitting at a near 3K gold lead at 13 minutes and 43 seconds. But that is by no means the be-all, end-all of this one. St. Paul's can still come back into this game. A lot of attention, I feel, needs to be brought to the bot side of this map. Neither team has yet to recall or reset or get items.
Yeah, no, these teams need to... The bot lanes have been just duking out by themselves. It should be, you know, very strong items coming through immediately for both these sides in this power spikes. The Essence Reaper almost should be completed for the Xayah, and the Vayne building towards her Rage Blade first. Or Rage Blade. I don't know. I don't know the character.
Yeah, it will be the insta-buy on the Blade of the Ruined King, so some sustain, good dueling potentials. I'm curious to see where NUBBYBUB, where those items will be. Only just recalling now. What will the Xayah buy? It will be an Essence Reaper, so Essence Reaper straight up.
Yeah, backing a little bit early to get those BTs means you get a little bit more lane presence, but you know, overall both these AD carries are kind of staying in there and saying, hey look, I've got enough gold for my items, and they kind of see a handshake agreement. Right, let's both reset, let's get our items, and we'll come back and fight it fair like real men, but across the rest of the map.
raDiEnt in a bit of trouble. Cataclysm comes down. raDiEnt has to go back underneath the tower, but the ultimate is enough to finally get the kill, so 1-for-1 in mid lane.
Yeah, the ultimate from LPJ able to secure that kill, but you see how much damage this Ekko has and how much survivability. A little bit of a lack of vision from him though, causing this J4 to do so much to him. Just luckily, both times the J4's come to his lane, he's been able to get out of it, and he really needs to work on getting that vision set up with his jungler so he's not getting ganked anymore.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Stvn hasn't opted for the Merc Treads just yet, instead going the Phage before then, considering how much pressure he's been having to put in the mid lane to try and protect LJP. I want to see those Mercury Treads built as soon as possible on this Jarvan, especially if they want to contest this Mountain Drake, because that is the next major objective. Bot lanes, they have their items, they're ready to go. Junglers seem to be making their way down there as well. We could be seeing at a dragon fight. Teleport is available for AS7 as well, so Kelvin Grove should be in the better situation. Sponkle stepping forward, has some help from Boosted Garbage. Will the bandage toss connect? Nope, it's not even going to be attempted.
Yeah, no, I think St. Paul's here definitely have the advantage. Well, not the advantage, sorry, are definitely behind in this dragon tempo. Same thing we kind of saw last game, right? They had the Infernal Dragon they got early.
raDiEnt.
I mean, yeah, this Ekko's just dumpstering this Syndra in the mid lane. There's not really much the Syndra can do. Kind of just champion difference, to be honest. But that's going to be happening for the rest of the game, and that's why this J4 needs to be around here and help supporting her. You see, the Mountain Dragon does go over to KG4 as well, using that bot lane priority to grab it up, and that's going to be pretty big for them, especially since the Vayne has the stronger Baron protection with the Mountain Dragon.
I mean, it was an easy Mountain Drake secure for Kelvin Grove because Stvn has unfortunately been placed on LJP babysitting duty. You cannot leave Syndra alone with raDiEnt right now, as we have seen time and time again. The damage coming out of this Ekko is too huge. If I'm Kelvin Grove, I want to be looking for this kill, but that is a big Cataclysm. Doesn't hold raDiEnt in place. Meanwhile, back in bot, Bandage Toss at max range does catch up to JacksProject. They change the CC. Health bars at half. Health bars gone. Sponkle with the kill.
Yeah, I mean, easy catch down to the Vayne. One of the weaknesses of her early on is that, you know, she doesn't have those Q resets on the ultimate. The Lulu ult came out to try to save her as well, but instantly goes down to that. So much damage coming out of the Xayah early on.
Yeah, so much for the gentleman's agreement in the bot lane. Boosted Garbage showing up and throwing things in favor of Kelvin Grove. With the Dragon secured, with bot lane pressure being pushed down, what I was saying before, I want to see KG start focusing that mid lane, take down that tower, and get raDiEnt on the side lane so he can really push that objective. That said, though, bot tower actually might be falling about now. This will be the first tower of the game, and this will open up NUBBYBUB and Sponkle to start exploring the map.
Yeah, this is going to into that mid lane, let Ekko enable that side lane win condition, get that pressure drawn across the map that he needs to do. I mean, I think the biggest thing is what Aurôra is doing right now when he's built up on the top side. I think he really needs to get that Spirit Visage completed. I think when you're falling behind, you know, on this Darius, who's kind of like one of those win more champions, right? It's only really effective when you're ahead. You really need to start building these more defensive items. I think he's going for what he's using the rock portal with the Raptors click there, but I think he needs to get this Spirit Visage because against a Mordekaiser, Spirit Visage is so overpowered. It just allows you to heal back so much health while you're fighting him and just negate so much damage he wants to throw out.
Yeah, as we're seeing another all-in attempt right now. raDiEnt just doing too much work. The flag and drag is not enough for the save. raDiEnt, another solo kill.
Yeah, that's the advantage of that Ekko and then Ignite as well, securing that kill up for him just there as well. I mean, the Syndra's just such a weak champion against Ekko. She's so immobile that he's able to force any engages. Any slight misposition from LJP just means he'll be going down in that matchup. And this Ekko, when he gets further and further ahead, already, what, like 50 CS, 40 CS up, I mean, it's going to be so much harder for LPJ to kind of fight back in this game, and now we see the bot lane loaded up and this should be mid lane tower going down.
Yeah, this should be the tower going down, but Cataclysm is trying to buy time. raDiEnt's already quite low as the rest of St. Paul's is here. raDiEnt just able to escape, at least for now, but Sponkle is left high and dry. Plëb is the one who gets the kill. AS7 with the odd teleport does drop the Shadow Realm onto Stvn, who is trying to buy time until he can escape, but he won't get out in time. That's a huge amount of buffs going over to this Mordekaiser. Finally, he goes down, but not before the double kill. Aurôra trying to lead the charge for St. Paul's. He's trying to get to NUBBYBUB. Won't be able to get there, but Boosted Garbage is a fine target for him. A double kill on Aurôra, bringing him back in this game.
Very interesting fight. Obviously, pushing up for that tower got caught out a little bit, and the rest of KG4 kind of came in there to help get raDiEnt and Sponkle out. I think they should have just left him to die there, reset, and you know that teleport in from AS7. You can't cancel TPs anymore, right? There was a little bit of a I'll TP in. There's only 2 of them here, and then boom, rest of SPS shows up, and it's kind of like, oh no, what do we do now? Everyone's
Shadow Realm
kind of dead.
Well, we learned what happens. You Shadow Realm, and you buy time, and you get the kill. I mean, yes, that teleport was pretty questionable, but AS7 still was able to turn around, so huge props to the Mordekaiser on that play. That said, though, St. Paul's, that was a good fight for them because it showed them they can skirmish, they can win, and they can fight back into this game.
Yeah, I think Aurôra was definitely the MVP in that fight. Got the ultimate reset on the Darius, able to get those executions reset back-to-back, and really helped him win that team fight. I mean, I want to see there's more MR coming out. There's a PD on the Darius. It's not TFT. I think that's a more interesting build from the Darius. I don't think that's a very effective item. I think you should be building more resistances rather than damage.
Ooh, nearly condemned against the wall was raDiEnt. Has to burn ultimate in order to escape. But it feels like raDiEnt's ultimate is just on permanent cooldown right now. Every time he comes to that mid lane, he's just using it to harass and get out time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you need on this Ekko, right? You're using so much mobility and so much lockdown and CC on an assassin. It's kind of unfair how much utility he brings as an assassin, which is why he's one of the few really good assassins that's viable and competitive or 5v5 play, right? Because you just offer more than just damage, which is what more traditional assassins like Zed and well, I mean Akali got free work, but old Akali and LeBlanc, they just pretty much offer damage, right? They don't offer anything else, and so not being able to utilize more than just one element of the kit is just not effective for a mid laner, which is one of the most versatile roles.
But what is also important right now for KG is how they can use their comp to siege. And that might be something where the Ekko falls short when compared to things like the Syndra in this situation. Yeah. But when you have objectives you can grab, maybe that's not as important. It looks as if they're going to be going for this Ocean Drake. St. Paul's, they know they can't step forward to contest, especially with raDiEnt still sitting in that mid lane being annoying. AS7 with them, it should be an easy Ocean Drake secured as Kelvin Grove look to further their lead. They have got their tickets ready. They just need to get it stamped for this final match. I feel like they're presenting it to the conductor now. It's looking very good for this blue side.
Yeah, I mean, 5k up at 21 minutes into the game. Baron not yet secured. A Mountain Dragon on their side as well. There isn't much that SPS can really do, unless they get a huge Baron steal and a big team fight where they ace the entire team. It's going to be very hard for SPS to come back, and they're definitely on the ropes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it actually is going to come down to the synergy between Stvn and JacksProject.
Yeah.
The Cataclysm needs to be on point. The Condemns need to be on point. They need to shut down either NUBBYBUB or raDiEnt in a fight. If they can get a pick on raDiEnt, it would be huge. But they can't step forward at all, as you can see. Kelvin Grove's vision right now is so much improved compared to that first game that whatever St. Paul tries to do, they get spotted out.
Yeah, I mean, St. Paul's, they are just trying to do anything. I think big adaptation between this game and the last game is that KG4 right have got their vision set up more effectively, right? In the last game, they seem to have had that defensive and they couldn't switch it back and forth. But this game, because they've been ahead this whole time, they're very good at being able to push a lead and finish games out very quickly. So I'd expect them to close this game out a little bit faster. Maybe the reason they were playing a bit slower and a little more controlled in the first game was because they were behind, which is an unfamiliar vision for our undefeated losers.
Yep. It is a very good point you brought up. Kelvin Grove, they have dropped a game in the quarterfinals, but they have not yet lost a match. In the best of ones, they went undefeated. They've also won, both best of threes, obviously, to get to the semifinal, and it doesn't look like they want to slow down, but a Cataclysm connects with 4. JacksProject trying to follow up and help out his jungler. Boosted Garbage has to flash defensively. Curse of the Sad Mummy connects with 3, however, and Kelvin Grove are turning this fight around. Shadow Realm was placed onto JacksProject as the rest of Kelvin Grove wiped the floor with St. Paul's. That is a huge 4-kill advantage.
That's 4 kills, and that should be the Baron going over as well. Health bar's a little bit low, and maybe they're just going to stay around for this mid lane tower as well. You could see Aurôra doing so much in this team fight, being able to get so much damage down on that Darius, but unfortunately just unable to get the gap closed and getting the executions onto the backline, and AS7 ulting the Vayne away just means that's a huge carry going into that team fight, and overall a big win for KG4.
That is a huge win for KG4. That will be Baron unless LJP26 does something beyond crazy. I don't see it happening. So with that Baron, KG4 now are in 100% control of this game. I feel they have blown this one open, and it is now time to seal the deal.
Yeah, I mean, as long as this Baron goes down before Stvn C can come look for a steal, we're a little bit slow, but it looks like St. Paul's aren't going to look up to contest this Baron. This Baron's going to be very big. I think already with these towers down, right, we saw the last game when KG4 got Baron, there was still every tower, pretty much available. And I think, with the Vayne being so far behind and Xayah being so far ahead, it's going to be very difficult for them to really do anything against how strong KG4 are. Yeah,
I mean, JacksProject has already paid the QSS tax before a second item has been completed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for St. Paul, that's supposed to be your DPS in these team fights. That's that late game oomph. And it's not there right now.
Yeah, no Rage Blade on the Vayne means you've got very little damage. The Xayah also QSS plus the ultimate completed means he's going to be almost untargetable. This Mordekaiser's got his ult to be untargetable as well, and 3 items completed. The Zhonya's plus the Rylai's Leandre's combo means he's going to be shredding through the front line of SPS. Jarvan, still only 2 items, going to be very squishy. No tank stats really completed yet. It's kind of building towards a Spirit Visage, but at this point there's just so much damage coming out of the Xayah who started to come online. There is just so much that Kelvin Grove have available to them that SPS just aren't available yet. They're just behind in levels, behind in gold, and overall just going to struggle quite a lot, but maybe ASM.
Still no Merc treads either for Stvn. Yeah. That's the thing that's like making me scratch my head the most. Also, KG4, they still have more power spikes on the horizon. When that death cap gets completed by raDiEnt, he's going to be able to one-shot pretty much anyone on the team, as Stvn getting harassed in a lot of trouble. But really, all what AS7 is doing is buying time for the rest of his team. You can see they're trying to siege that top lane, possibly looking for the fight to really burst this space open. Stvn, he just can't contest against AS7 right now.
Yeah, not at all. He's really just struggling. This AS7 on the Mordekaiser, 6-1 and 3, is just so huge, right? Has so much healing, so much damage with that W. It's going to be very hard for him to ever go down. And when he has that shield fully stacked, it just gets so much healing, especially with the Spirit Visage.
And this is, the top laner that we were wanting to see the most, I feel, coming into this one, except for maybe FeiFei Fan. But even then, AS7, the highest ranked player in this tournament, he kind of struggled game 1. I think he was thrown off by that Volibear pick.
Yeah.
But into this Darius, he is showing why he has been like the premier player to watch in this tournament today. He has already pulled a lot of pressure from St. Paul to that bot side, while the rest of Kelvin Grove is going to be able to secure this Mountain Drake. Another big neutral objective to further Kelvin Grove's lead. I'm thinking, though, they're 10k up. They've gotten one Baron. The Baron buff should be winding down now. Do they even need that second Baron to end?
I mean, with the Mountain Dragons, probably not, right? And they've got this really strong 1-3-1 they can set up with the Ekko and the Mordekaiser in the side lane, since they only really have one side lane answer threat here from St. Paul's, which is the Darius. And I think raDiEnt is very strong against anyone who wants to kind of match him, but we see a little bit of a fight going on here.
Yeah, raDiEnt's going in super deep. He's already gotten so much damage onto LJP, is not able to secure the kill, but that does mean Syndra has to recall, so there's a small opening right now for Kelvin Grove. AS7 sort of standing guard, trying to take that minion aggro to help protect that Baron empowered cannon. raDiEnt taking a couple tower shots should be fine for now. JacksProject trying to find that way in as the tower does fall. The inhibitor is next. St. Paul, they need to make this stand if Kelvin Grove off to push it. A huge grab from this top laner. AS7 is not enough to start the fight just yet, and they should be backing off.
I mean, raDiEnt, unfortunately, not being able to get a kill on the Syndra, which would have been a huge lead for them, right? But, you know, playing safe, playing more defensively here, again, just playing this control game, as AS7 still in the back.
He's bait. He's trying to pull St. Paul out, and the trap is sprung. They catch that when LJP is in a lot of trouble. Had the Zhonya's Plëb is down. That is the second member. A Cataclysm comes down. It's way too late. Kelvin Grove, they're winning the fight. They are winning this semifinal, and they are looking to punch their ticket to the grand final.
I mean, you said it yourself, they don't need the Baron yet, and they will win the game here. And now the ace from all 5 members going down on SPS, and Kelvin Grove win this game in emphatic style in 28 minutes.
Undefeated from day 1 of this tournament, Kelvin Grove are your first finalists in the Queensland State Championship Series.
Yes, very much. Kelvin Grove taking that game out extremely quickly. Very nice macro for them at the end of the game. You know, that first game we said they really need to make sure they're a lot more aggressive and a lot more ruthless. They played way too defensively, way too controlled and calm, and you know they could have ended that game a lot faster. This game we didn't see that as much. They you know had that first game on stage. They got adjusted to it. They realized how good they were, and they really just pushed their lead to win. And unfortunately, there just wasn't much SPS can do. You know, they didn't get stuff doing later and.
Oh, you okay? All right, cool. All right, guys, that was an amazing best of 2. You guys both played so well. Give it up for the guys. All right, our champions for the first semi-final is Kelvin Grove State College. Awesome. All right, Sponkle, you know what? I have to say, I absolutely love the way that you were playing there. It was amazing. Of course, because there are so many, is there anything you want to say for the team?
I think there's only one thing to say. I mean, better mid wins.
Guys, we all know, all just casual banter, I understand, that's all right so far, no worries. Okay, and I want to talk to Aurôra, of course. So what was your experience in this league so far?
This league, as in this game?
As in the entire thing, because this has been going on for 13 weeks.
Nah, it's pretty good. It's good fun. It's cool to be able to play like league, I guess, competitively and have it like mean something other than like just wasting my own time.
And we all have experienced that problem as well, but at least now things that we actually enjoy doing, like video games, can actually bring us to something like this so far. So we're going to cut back to the casters for their analysis as we go on to the second semifinals, which will be around about midday.
Our apologies. So, yeah, no, I mean, that game, obviously, KG4 played so well that game. They, you know, had that extra aggressive, you know, style. They lost that. They lacked that a little bit in game 1. And, you know, they just showed how much stronger they were, ending that game in 28 minutes. A lot more ruthless style out of them and much better. And hopefully they continue that into their final, which will be played later this afternoon against the winner of our next semi-final. Will be coming up starting in about 40 minutes at 12 p.m. between Callan Vale and Merrimack State High School. So very interesting to see how these teams go. And, you know, those two sides are two of the, you know, maybe more dark horses that we had in this competition. I'm really excited to see how they play.
I think, though, going back to this first semi-final, we learned a lot about KG4 finally seeing them on stream, especially in a best-of series. And my biggest takeaway is AS7 is KG4.
Yeah.
In the sense when I mean game 1, yeah, KG4 felt like they didn't have that bite, didn't have that closing edge. This time they did. what's the biggest difference? AS7 lost lane and was behind early.
Yeah.
And then only when he came online did the team have the confidence to look to end. This time around, AS7 was winning lane. He was doing really well. And all of a sudden, they have that aggression. They have that push.
Yeah. I mean,
so I feel AS7, he is the catalyst to push this team forward.
I mean, you can just tell he's probably he's their main shot caller, right? You can see behind the scenes, he's the one telling those shots. So in that first game, he felt a little bit like, I don't know, I'm behind, I'm not used to this. What am I going to do from here? And so could everyone just calm down? I want to get myself right. I want to get myself, comfortable in this game, and then we can start going for the kill shot, going for that more aggressive play style. So I think him and not being able to do that early on definitely had some detriment on the overall team performance. And I think in that second game, you could see he was more comfortable getting that win, and they had more pressure towards that top side and was able to take more advantages. And from that, he's done a lot better. And, that game was much cleaner from Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, and not to mention raDiEnt as well. He had his time to shine in game number 2 on that Ekko. Look phenomenal in that, as we can see the teams, they're getting together. Sportsmanship, very important in all sorts of events such as this one. So good to see the handshakes going down. And a huge thank you to SPS for coming out here today and having that semifinal attempt. I mean, it's got to be frustrating to lose in the first series of the day, but they made it this far. Like, you have to be proud of that, right?
This is still a huge event, right? It's a big deal to come and play on stage. You get to bring all your own keyboard and mouse and play in front of a crowd of people and, proper gaming PCs and all together, right? It's a whole different experience when you're playing next to each other rather than, playing at home over Discord. It's a lot more of a more involved team environment, and it really gives them that, reward of how well they've played so far this split.
Definitely it does. So I definitely hope this isn't the last that we'll see of SPS. I think we will be seeing them next year and maybe even at this Ekko tournament had they opted to sign up. By the way, for all you Queensland high schools out there, there is a tournament with Ekko performances on the line. So I do not believe it's too late to sign up. So if you want to go ahead and check us out at UQU Esports, you can get your team together and join up.
I think games start this Tuesday or next
starts
Tuesday?
This Tuesday?
Yeah, this Tuesday. So we'll be back, obviously, broadcasting that as well.
Woo.
So as soon as one project ends, on to the next. But what an amazing project this has been so far. And I think we just have some replays of those past 2 games coming up in just a second.
Yeah, I want to take a look at some of these replays, and we can see how Kelvin Grove was able to secure their spot in the final.
And you see, this is one of those, early kind of stages. It's one of the big moments that really exploded. KG4 were a little bit further ahead at this stage, but it hadn't really shown that advantage. And I think this was the key fight where they really just went, no, we are the strong winning team. Obviously, a good engage from Stvn C, but there's just so much damage and so much, dodging abilities for KG4, right? Their carries all have, self-peel. The Ekko, obviously, with his ultimate and his gap closer as well. Xayah has her ultimate and a QSS completed as well. Not just yet. She had her ultimate anyways, which gives her a stage of invulnerability, means you can't take her down. Mordekaiser as well, having that death realm center. So those 3 big damage dealers all have a ways to dodge the big engage abilities from SPS, and that was one of the key differences in drafting that really gave KG4 the edge.
Yeah, I definitely in that team fight have to give credit to AS7 once again, taking JacksProject completely out of that fight, limiting the DPS really that SPS was able to throw out there. As a result, it's an easy fight for KG to win.
Yeah,
because they have the front line, they have the back line damage still coming from NUBBYBUB. So it was really good situation, but the next replay I think is also very important as well.
Yeah,
which should be the final fight.
The final fight, yeah.
The big final fight.
The big final bait. They kind of pushed him for this inhibitor, got it down, and then AS7 kind of looked like he was staying around, being a little bit of that overconfident player. And, just the rest of the team really baited correctly, and then they came through and won this fight super hard. I mean, I definitely want to give credit to NUBBYBUB in this series. I think he was definitely one of the best players. I think, AS7 played really well in the second game, was the key carry, but in that first game didn't have that same performance. So I think the MVP of this series overall so far had to be NUBBYBUB. I think he played very well both games and was just very consistent as the AD carry, which is exactly what you want.
Yes, here comes the big fight now. Moving in as 5. Unfortunately, the Cataclysm coming too little, too late. AS7 just completely taking JacksProject out of the fight. There was your ace, and there was your game, and that is how Kelvin Grove made it to the final.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a huge event this afternoon. We will be back in just a moment. We'll be taking a break while we let the next 2 teams come into gear, set themselves up, get themselves adjusted to the whole stage environment. It's a very big deal as well for these teams being invited. And KG4 will be in our grand final. Commiserations to SPS. They still played very, very well and did well for themselves. And we hope to see them back next year and in the Ekko tournament as well. But we will be coming back in about 40 minutes to watch. In about 30 minutes to watch Callum Vale versus Merrimack in our next semi-final to see who will be taking on KG4 in the decider.
Yeah, so please do not go anywhere. We will be back soon.